Hello, everybody. My name is NicholassRivas. I talk about politics. Today, we're talking about the conservative group like Candace Owens and Kanye West talking about George Floyd, stating that he was not killed by the police, but he was killed by the fentanyl in his system. This has been a lie perpetuated by right-wing groups in an effort to, for one, shield law enforcement from criticism, and the left-wing movements of Black Lives Matter and just in general police critiques. People like Candace Owens have perpetuated this lie. Many right-wingers have perpetuated this. And unsurprisingly, Kanye West, in his most recent tirades, said that George Floyd had fentanyl in his system, and that's how he died. It's disgusting. It's just wrong. And we know why it's done. George Floyd is just a random black dude. It's easy to pick on. And my voice sounds awful. I apologize. I've lost it over the weekend. I'm not trying to sound as somber, but I'm also just disgusted and really sick of having this conversation. We're still having this conversation after, God knows how long. I would think that in this, years later, or sorry, a year later, right? Oh my gosh, time feels like it's been blurred together, but you would feel that at this point, the conversation of George Floyd's innocence would just be kind of cleared up. I mean, the guy, albeit a criminal, right? He was caught with counterfeit bills. I think that was clear and cut. Oh yeah, he did something wrong, but criminal doesn't inherently mean bad. I mean, the guy did something wrong, but the police's reaction was just gross, and it was pure mistakes on their end. And many of people agreed. People were criticizing them. I remember Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, both right-wing conservative figures who consistently protect the police and their image, were even like, hey, look, that was screwed up. Even Donald Trump said, yeah, that was messed up. And that's the issue with these conservatives who are lying to you, that it's okay to admit, like, hey, police done goofed here. Doesn't mean all police are bad, but they're so scared of the narrative that people are going to flip it and go, hey, look, there's reform that needs to occur, that they, I guess, go blind. They think that they can't criticize the police, or they just feel that it's, if we lie about it a little, we can get past and we can make police look good. And I'm definitely not in the camp of ACAB, like I jokingly say that, but it never is anything that I truly mean. Like, the whole premise is also odd to me that, every single police officer is a monster. Now, there's arguments to be made that the system, breeds this shoot first, think later type of thing. And, you can say that I am wrong, and it's definitely not clear cut. But the idea that many situations before Rodney King occurred, this, focus of black and brown men being criminals and being rough around the edges with them, but then you're really nice to some kid named Kyle in the Catalina foothills, it's apparent, especially in places where I live in Arizona. Tucson has a small black population, yet they make up 20% of the criminal activity. Obviously, through over-policing, broken windows, policing, racial stigmas, and just institutional racism around. I mean, kids in those demographics typically are poor and bred into more poor situations, which then lead to criminal activity. I mean, come on, you if you're hungry, you're going to steal something. If you need money, you're going to steal something. You're going to lead yourself into a crime just by systematic racism. CRT, these buzzwords are scary, but in reality, they're just criticizing a system that is innately racist. And that's all it is. It's not even in criticism. It's one of those, we're just asking questions. Why is it that black men make up a big portion of criminal activity? It's not like they're just born genetically, unless, some right-wingers do believe that they're just genetically, they're incapable of being, civil. Like, that's how they paint it. Like, you're just black and you just want to commit crimes. So all that said, all that around, the idea is stupid. The idea is dumb. Black men are not going to be more criminal. because of just their skin, but the stigma around it is. And so when you have people like George Floyd, it was finally an example that a man, clear cut, was just mistreated by police, and you couldn't get away with it. And you as a police who investigate yourself couldn't just investigate yourself and be done and get promoted, just as the Dahmer guy got away. The Dahmer kid was murdered, and those two police officers ended up just going up in the ranks. The police system we have now is not being able to be critiqued because of people like Candace Owens. You can't say that's wrong, that's messed up, because then they feel like you're saying it about all police. So George Floyd was obviously killed, and if he wasn't, it would still be a gross negligence by the police department. He was already in cuffs. He was already in the back of his car. When the police pulled him out, Derek Chauvin pulled him out and put his knee unnecessarily. That's all we're saying. It was just unnecessary. The man was already arrested. He was already in the back. Then, when being on his neck, the target in his mind wasn't dangerous. The man was just on the floor. But through breeding of institutional racism and police being fearful, and understandably being fearful, because police are shot a lot of times, unfortunately, because of another pillar of all these crazy things going on in our system is, gun laws. A lot of guns are in circulation in the United States, and through illegal activity or through legal activity, men and women are always carrying weapons more so, and police are fearful. They've been shot, or they've been shot at, I'm sure, in a plethora of cases. So he felt endangered through all of those ideas, and he just kept them on the floor for 8 minutes, and he was killed. There was maybe drugs found. I think I read somewhere that he did take something, but it was, my belief, under the dosage was not enough, and it was a time period where it was too far to even dictate, because ultimately the coroner came out and said, no, he was killed by asphyxiation, which sounds, on paper like, oh, that makes sense. But when you watch the video, you go, oh, no shit. The guy was on his neck for 8 minutes. You put someone on your neck for 8 minutes in an uncomfortable position. I've had people put a pillow over me, like play fighting, and I'm 30 seconds in wanting to pass out. It happens. You're human. Come on, guys. We're not all built like pro wrestlers and UFC fighters who can, wiggle themselves out and pull a Kimura to get out, right? Like, or hold themselves mentally aware to be okay. Like, the simulation of being waterboarded is what kills you, right? You think you're drowning. You might go to cardiac arrest because of your panic. It's not necessarily your throat was closed and you were held down and asphyxiated in that sense. But even in this case, you could argue he obviously was, if the coroner gave him that death. So 2 and 2 together, 2 plus 2. The man just had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes by a pretty big dude. And even though people like Steven Crowder, another conservative who blames the fentanyl rather than the police officer, even though Steven Crowder blamed the fentanyl and recreated, quote unquote, the knee on his neck, he didn't actually do that. When you look at the video of Steven Crowder trying to recreate this, he has the neck like on his spine a little bit, more so his back rather than his neck. Again, pretty uncomfortable position, but I'm sure his buddies weren't going that hard on him. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that my colleague who runs a show, who's probably my higher up, I'm not going to really hurt him that much. And especially if it's just a me and my friend type of thing, I'm not going to hurt my friend. But in the case of this police officer, there was probably some animosity. Again, institutional racism, maybe over enforcement, maybe drunk off power, maybe the fear of being shot through our crazy gun laws that we have here. I don't know. But all of those seem to be a leading up alley-oop of maybe the fentanyl didn't kill this guy. Because I'm a betting man. And if you were to tell me a guy on your neck for 9 minutes kills you, I'm not going to go there and say, maybe it was the weed John smoked 2 years ago. No. Come on, guys. Let's be civil and let's be adults here. It's a pure effort to make Derek Chauvin look good, as he is a police officer, part of their team, and they want to make all police look good. So, I mean, again, it just feels like 2 plus 2 here, guys. But thank you so much. I apologize for this just depressing topic, and it is what it is. Thank you all.
I got it. Looks like I'm not even seeing.
Available for tasking.
Spy plane perimeter established, Angels 3. Hostile sentry turret active. We're in the last remaining seconds. Push. Spy plane flight time 50% on 9 hours. Mark. Enemy air patrol inbound. Plane exiting AO. Bomb deactivated. Стыдитесь. Expect.